Hi, everybody. Here is part two of our learning in Unit 6 data management that is connected to the project that we are working on. And today we're going to be looking at making conclusions about data. So, again, this quote numbers have an important story to tell. They rely on you to give them a clear and convincing voice. And that's really the whole point of the math portion of this project is you are being asked to explore a topic and think about it globally and locally, and you're being asked to think of some solutions. And the math component is really to find some data that's going to be supporting your solutions. And it's really going to be important here that you're going to use this data to tell that important story and give you some, proof or some reasons why you think your solution might be a good one. So when we analyze data, we want to be able to make conclusions or claims. We want to make those decisions based on what we see. One thing that's really important is when we're looking at outside sources, we have to be really careful because sometimes data can be misleading. So, for example, there used to be a commercial on TV that talked about, 3 out of 4 dentists recommend Crest. And while that might be true, because they're not going to lie, maybe they only asked 4 dentists. And maybe 3 of them were paid by Crest to say that they recommended it. We don't really know everything about the data. So we have to look at it very carefully. Maybe we analyze the source of where it came from. Maybe we look at multiple sources to ask ourselves, are the multiple sources all telling us the same thing? You just have to be really careful. If you look at a graph, you have to look at, there are ways that you can manipulate data to tell the story that you want it to tell, even if that story may not be totally true. This slide here is optional for you to be looking at if you need a little bit of a refresher on how we actually can analyze and interpret graphs. Have a look at this one. Here, this one is a mandatory one that I want you to be watching. And it talks about how graphs can mislead you and things to look out for. And some little hints here, you're going to look at the labels, you're going to look at the scale, look at the numbers being used, titles, context, etc., and consider the source. As I said, 3 out of 4 dentists might recommend Crest, but are they being paid by Crest to say that? So this video is one that is a mandatory task for you to look at and consider. As is this one. So this is also a mandatory one that we want you to be looking at. Again, anytime that we're presented with data or looking for data, we need to look at it through a critical eye. Just because you see a graph or statistic that has a claim doesn't mean that that claim is actually true. There may be things that they're doing to mislead you or manipulate you into thinking something, and you have to look at things with a critical eye. Final task that you need to be doing in this section is to complete this check-in. So you're going to be clicking on this link. It links to a Google form. It's a little bit of an assessment check-in for some of the skills that we've learned in part 1 and part 2 of the unit so far. If you have any questions, please touch base with your teacher. And sorry, I'm having trouble figuring out where to stop this, so give me one sec. There we go.